We have three short horror stories. All of them might be true, or all of them could be made up. Sometimes one of the stories will be AI generated. Tell me in the comments which ones you think are true, allegedly, and which ones you think are made up, and which ones might be AI. I stopped at McDonald's to get some food. I found a finger in my fries. Yeah, you heard me right, a freaking finger. I couldn't believe my eyes. At first I thought it was some sick joke, but as I stared at the greasy, severed finger nestled among my fries, my stomach churned with horror. Gagging, I rushed to the counter and showed the cashier what I had found. Her eyes widened, and she looked like she was about to pass out. The manager came over, his face turning pale as he saw the ghastly sight. He apologized profusely, assuring me it was an isolated incident, and that they'd investigate how this could have happened. Disgusted and shaken, I decided not to take any legal action for the time being, as I assumed it was just a one-time freak accident. The manager offered to refund my money and provide me with a free meal, but there was no way I was going to eat anything from that place again. Instead, I left McDonald's with a queasy feeling in my stomach and a story that I knew would freak my friends out. That night, I couldn't shake off the image of the severed finger from my mind. I tried to distract myself by watching TV, but even the most mindless sitcom couldn't help me forget what I had seen. Eventually, exhaustion took over, and I managed to fall asleep. However, my sleep was restless and plagued by strange dreams. I saw shadowy figures lurking in the corners of my room, and every time I tried to scream, my voice was stolen from me. It felt like I was being watched, and I could sense an eerie presence hovering around me. When I finally woke up, I dismissed it as just a nightmare induced by the day's bizarre events. Over the next few days, the finger incident started to fade from my thoughts. Life went back to its usual routine, and I found myself gradually forgetting the fear and disgust I had experienced. But it wasn't long before things took a sinister turn. One evening, as I was walking home from work, I noticed a figure following me from a distance. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. I turned into different streets, trying to shake off the pursuer, but they seemed relentless. Fear crept into my veins as I finally reached my apartment building. I rushed inside and locked the door behind me. I peeked through the curtains, and my blood turned cold when I saw the figure standing across the street, staring up at my window. Paranoia consumed me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched at all times. Every night, I heard strange noises outside my window, like someone scratching the glass or tapping on the walls. I would often find bizarre items left at my doorstep, a broken doll, a lock of hair, a torn page from a diary, and each time, a sickening dread settled in the pit of my stomach. I started to withdraw from my friends and family, fearing that whoever was tormenting me might harm them too. But as much as I tried to hide, I couldn't escape the ever-present sense of being hunted. One night, unable to bear the terror any longer, I decided to confront my stalker. I waited in the darkness of my apartment, clutching a baseball bat for protection. Hours passed, and just as I was about to give up, I heard a soft tapping on my window. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I swung open the curtains and came face to face with the person responsible for my torment. But what I saw sent a shockwave of horror through my entire being. It was a figure, gaunt and pale, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce into my soul. And in its outstretched hand was a familiar sight, a severed finger. My heart raced as I realized the truth. The finger in the fries wasn't an accident. It was a message, a warning. I stumbled back, dropping the baseball bat in my terror. The figure stared at me for a moment before slowly retreating into the darkness. It was then that I knew this was no ordinary stalker. It was something supernatural, something malevolent. From that moment on, my life became a living nightmare. The figure haunted my every waking moment, and even in my dreams, I couldn't escape its chilling presence. I sought help from priests, psychics, and paranormal investigators, but nothing could rid me of this vengeful entity. I lived in constant fear, never knowing when or where it would strike next. It was like a relentless predator, toying with its prey before finally going in for the kill. And I couldn't escape the grim reality that the finger in my fries was only the beginning of a horrifying ordeal that would haunt me for the rest of my life. So, it was a dark and spooky night, and I was driving alone on this super isolated highway. I was on my way to a cabin with some friends, hoping for a chill weekend away from the city hustle. But man, as I kept driving, it felt like I was entering a horror movie or something. The road was practically deserted, and all I had for light was my car's headlights. It was pitch black all around, and the woods on either side made it even creepier. I started to get this weird feeling that I wasn't alone out there. Just as I was trying to shake off that spooky feeling, I saw this figure up ahead. It was a woman in a worn-out gown, with her hair flying in the wind. I freaked out and slammed on the brakes, but when I blinked, she was gone. It was like she disappeared into thin air. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me due to tiredness, but I couldn't shake the unease. The drive felt endless, like I was going in circles or something. There were no signs of civilization anywhere, just an eerie darkness enveloping everything. Then, out of nowhere, I saw this old sign by the roadside. It said, "Abandoned Asylum, 10 miles ahead." I knew about the stories people told about that place, and it gave me the chills. Part of me wanted to turn back, but curiosity got the better of me. As I got closer to the asylum, things got even weirder. The darkness seemed alive, swirling and moving around my car. I swear I heard faint whispers in the wind, like ghosts were trying to talk to me. It was too freaky, and I wanted to escape, but something kept me stuck there. The car's headlights started flickering, and I was panicking big time. I hit the gas, hoping to get away, but the car stalled. I was stuck, and the asylum felt like it was pulling me in with its dark energy. I got out of the car, and that's when things got super spooky. I felt this cold hand on my shoulder, but when I turned around, there was no one there. It was just the road and that creepy asylum, staring back at me. I knew I had to get out of there, and I ran back to the car. The engine finally started, and I peeled away from that creepy place as fast as I could. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed me, like I brought that darkness with me. When I finally got to the cabin and met up with my friends, I kept quiet about what happened. I didn't want them to think I was crazy or something. But deep down, I knew there was something unnatural out there on that desolate highway. Throughout the weekend, I couldn't shake the feeling that we weren't alone at the cabin. It was like the woods held secrets, and the darkness was hiding something from us. I couldn't help but think that some things are better left alone, you know? I always knew there was something eerie about that convenience store at night, but I needed my snacks and soda, so I decided to brave the spooky walk anyway. The moon hung low, casting long shadows that seemed to reach out for me as I made my way through the dimly lit streets. My heart pounded in my chest like a tribal drum as I walked alone. The only sounds were the distant hum of cars and the occasional rustle of leaves in the cool breeze. It felt like I was the last person alive, and every step I took echoed in the silence, making me paranoid that something might be following me. As I approached the store, its flickering neon sign illuminated the path ahead. The door creaked open as I entered, and a chill ran down my spine. The cashier, an old man with tired eyes, looked up at me from behind the counter. He seemed to know something I didn't, and it sent shivers down my spine. "Evening," I said, trying to sound casual. The old man merely nodded and went back to arranging the dusty shelves. I tried to shake off the eerie feeling and focused on finding my snacks and soda. As I walked down the narrow aisles, I noticed strange, old-fashioned products that I had never seen before. The dim light gave the store a surreal atmosphere, making it feel like I had stepped into another time. After grabbing my items, I made my way to the counter to pay. The old man's eyes seemed to pierce right through me as he rang up my purchase. "Be careful out there," he said cryptically, almost like a warning. I chuckled nervously. "Yeah, it's a bit creepy tonight, huh?" He didn't respond but handed me the bag, and I quickly left the store. As I stepped back into the night, I noticed that the moon was now hidden behind thick clouds, leaving me in almost complete darkness. My heart started racing again as I felt the weight of the old man's words lingering in the air. The walk back home felt even spookier. Every little noise made me jump, and I could swear I heard footsteps behind me. I tried to convince myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, but the feeling of being watched was too real to ignore. When I finally reached my doorstep, I let out a sigh of relief. I quickly unlocked the door and stepped inside, feeling the warmth and safety of my home wash over me. I turned on all the lights, trying to dispel the lingering fear that clung to me. As I settled on the couch with my bag of goodies, I couldn't shake off the strange experience at the store. The old man's words kept echoing in my mind, and I couldn't help but wonder what he meant by, "Be careful out there." I never went to that convenience store after dark again.